Welcome to the Salty Investors, episode number 54. It is Thursday evening, October 26, 2023. How are you, Tim?
Yeah, heating up here. What about down your way? Is it summer
It's
yet?
cooling down. It's cooling down because you heard about that, I don't know, southerly
Oh, yeah.
cold fucking front or whatever. It's working its way up. It'll probably get up to your place by tomorrow. So the temperatures are supposed to drop.
Oh, really?
Which is good. Yeah, I can do without the humidity.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
get
good.
away from me. But it's only going to last a few days, and then we'll be back to it. Anyway, what do we got this week, Tim? What's your salt?
The battlers are doing it tough, and I see a tweet from the Queensland Premier saying 70% by 2032, 80% by 2035. We're putting Queensland's new renewable energy targets into law. Well,
Oh, yeah.
clearly, this is going to lift the cost of living, especially in regional areas. The wisdom of the mob voted for this by a large margin. The comments in the story are saying, we'll vote you out, but Argentina's lived with this junk for 77 years and looks like it'll continue for a few more. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I just find these renewable targets fantastic. I mean, there's no one. Yeah, good luck. Because so 80% by 2035, which is when coal is supposed to be completely phased out in Queensland as well at the same time. So what's the other 20%? Is that gas, is it?
I guess. I don't know.
I mean,
still using cars,
good luck
I guess.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 2035, look, we could build, even Australia, as hopeless as we are, we could build a nuclear plant in 12 years. It should only take 7 or 8, but, we could probably manage it in 12. We could manage a couple of them, but no, we're too stupid.
No. We just hope and pray that, make these targets and, there's no anything behind them. They're still going to mine coal and collect royalties and, still do all that up until a day. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's, there's this idea about these politicians, like she's probably not going to be there much longer. And, it's their legacy. They have to leave a legacy or something like that, so we've got to try and go for a treaty and 80% renewables. And then, one day in 5-10 years down the track, and she can sit at some ABC lefty love in at the Sydney Opera House and regale everybody how she set these, great targets. And unfortunately, they didn't make it, but, because the governments didn't have the will to see it through or something. It's all about them. I mean, do you think these politicians have any idea of whether that's even possible? Some lobbyist got in their ear and told them it was, and they went, yeah, we'll go with that. That'll do.
Yep. True leadership. That'll come up. We had the true leadership, but just couldn't get it through. And yeah. Oh, well, back to reality, I guess. We can't just get out a pen and write these things into reality. I'm pretty sure the economy and everything's going to tick.
Back in reality land, in Australia here, we had the CPI. So it was both the quarterly and the monthly came out. So the monthly showed a big drop. The quarterly did, but the monthly ticked up. So as we said, this thing's not going to go down a straight line. It's going to sawtooth its way, and this time it's sawtoothed up. So the basic CPI was back over 5% again. We were under 5, back up to 5.2. And the excluding the volatile items is, it's not moving very quickly. And so this strategy by the RBA, what have they sat on rates now for four meetings in a row? I think 4 months in a row. So how much more can they take? Because this was a bit unexpected. People didn't think it was going to go up. This is just have a look at some of the things inside it. So housing, I mean, look where rents are. Rents have been consistently sort of 7, 7.5% year over year hikes. The cost of a new dwelling sitting at 5. So it's rents aren't going to come down anytime soon, I don't think, with the way, the amount of people we're pumping into the country. And that's just more of a look. I mean, there's not much going backwards. Look at transport, I assume, includes
Diesel.
petrol prices. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. And look at insurance and financial services. I mean, they've just been smashing it.
But
Clothing, footwear.
yeah, you don't really use them too much, do you? So
No.
like communications, do you need a second
Yeah,
mobile or
yeah.
third mobile phone? Like
It's this stuff. I mean, food and that's still running at over 4. Housing is, as we said, off its face. Everybody's got to reinsure their home and contents insurance and all this kind of crap as well. So that does, hurt people. So it's what I'm saying is this inflation sticking around as we thought it might.
There's one thing that has dropped, and that's holidays.
What's
So holiday travel has dropped, so you can take a cruise. All that extra money you got saved up, take a cruise, and it's come down a bit. But I'm pretty sure there's reasons why that's come down. Is lack of demand. They can't get enough people into them. So I don't know.
Yeah. And of course, after that, this is yesterday, 25th of October. We went from a 21% chance of an increase to 55.
Yep.
In one day, it had been pretty low. I mean, the futures have been pricing in one more rate rise for a while now, and so it's a 50-50 whether we'll get one next month, Tuesday. Is it Tuesday next week? Or be the week after, won't it? I think it'll be the week after.
Melbourne Cup, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be the week after. So that'll be interesting because I mean it's just that she's sort of what's her name? Bullock, is it?
Yep.
She sort of made her own bed here because there's a couple of comments that the board has a low tolerance for a slower return of inflation to target than currently expected. And members acknowledge that upside risks were a significant concern given how long inflation is likely to remain above target. So I mean, this just adds a little more pressure. How long can they keep sitting? If inflation bubbles along here at 4.5 to 5 for the next, they got to go. I mean, there's still people. Go ahead.
They're not in December, are they? They take December off, don't they? Do they?
Yeah, it's either just I think they don't have a meeting in January, first week of January.
Okay, so that sort of limits
December.
So that limits the possibility days they can actually lift. Oh yeah, I know they can lift outside, but normally they wouldn't want to scare the market like that. So
nah, they haven't done that for a very long time.
That'll freak everyone. But yeah, I don't know. It's looking more likely, but I don't know. I don't think they got the balls to do it. Everyone's still talking transitory. Oil prices are transitory. They're not using that terminology, obviously. I'm using that bit of tongue in cheek, but yeah, everyone's going, everyone's hurting, and they're hoping oil's going to come down, but not looking too good in the Middle East. So
yeah, no, it's just interesting that they've sort of locked themselves into this position now, and it's just like, do you have the ball? Because I mean, essentially, what those comments are saying is, we can't just wait for it to come down. If it hangs around, we will have to go again, and that's just gonna. I mean, she's going to be about as popular as Philip Lowe if she does, if she does raise. Yeah. But it's probably the right thing to do. I think Stephen Koukoulis was out yesterday saying, they didn't need to go. They don't need, but he's been wrong for, I don't know. He's been wrong all year, I think, pretty much. I mean, he's an economist. Of course he's wrong.
Yeah. It's looking pretty embarrassing now. Like everyone's saying, that was the end. That was terminal, Yeah, I mean, it's not looking like that at all now. Like, we were wrong earlier on. So, but like no one can predict this stuff, and they can't either. So, have to wait and see.
Yeah, so that's inflation caught up to date for Australia. Let's get to another quality Australian company, Tim. There must be we've looked at 2 out of 2. That's about it. I mean, we've run out now, haven't we?
No, I've got a few more on the list. I want to do them all because we do live in a place that can potentially burn to the ground. And if you're not ready to to buy when they do burn to the ground. You don't want to be picking up the banks. You want to pick up some quality that you're going to hold on for a bit. And
Yeah.
CSL is one of the ones that you've mentioned to me before, and I think you've got a bit of history with this. You understand it very well. But I'll just go through everybody else. CSL is an Australian biotech company. Normally, I don't like biotech or pharmaceuticals. They need endless amounts of capital as their patents and drugs expire. Also, they're terrible for strike rates for getting a successful product to market, so it's very expensive. CSL are different. They invest in treatments that are evergreen, and they have returns for decades. For example, vaccines normally are terrible investments as they're a one-off, but CSL invest in influenza, which needs to be applied every year. And to make it even better, slight changes are needed every year, making generics impossible. You might have noticed that Australia is full of creatures that want to kill you. CSL dominates antivenoms. Every hospital needs to stock them in the country, and the market isn't large enough for any competition. The third product line is blood products. They process donated blood, making it near impossible for a competition to come in and compete. In December 2021, they acquired a Swiss drug maker for 11.7 billion. And the COVID vaccine production has drastically reduced. So the stock is down 30% since the 2020 highs. Since 1999, CSL has increased 5,000% compared to 230% for the S&P 500. So clearly this has got legs to run. Let's look at the fundamentals. Shares outstanding are slightly diluting. Employees are increasing, but well under revenue growth. In the last 7 years, it hasn't been cheaper on a PE basis. On a price to free cash flow basis, it's only been cheaper once, and only by 10%. Return on invested capital was in the mid-20s, and then the high teens, but then the acquisition happened in 2021, and the numbers are being hurt. Margins are getting worse, especially in the last couple of years. Revenue growth has been really good. On a short-term basis, the EPS has been terrible because of the acquisition. It's got a small dividend, high payout ratio, interest coverage is average. If we flip over to the balance sheet, we can see that it's got 16 billion in debt and 2 billion of free cash flow. With a high payout ratio, I see it taking a while to decrease this debt level. I assume they need to pay off about 10 billion in debt to get back to originally having about 6 billion, especially in a high interest rate environment. For me, it looks like it's going to take at least 2 to 3 years to knock down this level of debt for the market to be able to look through. If we go back to zero interest rates, this may happen sooner. It's too big of an acquisition for me to be interested. So I'd want the 6-year low on the price of free cash flow plus a 20% due to the high debt level. So around 170 for me. So seems highly unlikely. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think can they turn this acquisition into a cash cow? Previous acquisitions they have. They're one of the best they're the best in world, I would say, at buying things and then just getting exceptional returns out of them. This one, this has got a lot of people scratching their head, this one, especially the price they paid for this was huge. It's a big acquisition, as you said. And in the short term, it's meant that all their returns as you can see in that previous page, like return on equity, return on invested capital, all come right back. Return on equities, low teens, return on invested capital is single digits, almost 10%. It's just so it looks shitty, but their track records suggest that they will be able to get back to those 30-40% returns on equity if they can do that. And so it's whether or not you can. It's whether or not you think they can execute. But that aside, the rest of it's a great business. It's an awesome business. It has above average trend growth in revenue. And so to me, it's a great quality business, probably the best quality business in Australia. I would, this recent acquisition notwithstanding. So it's yeah, what do you pay for it?
Yep.
I'm with you. See, a few years back when it was at 330, I would have bought it, but that was pre-acquisition. You know, it topped out at about 330. So that was pre-acquisition. I absolutely would buy it for 230, but this acquisition, I don't know. Got to wait and see. I would like to see it the other side of 200 before I got interested personally.
Okay.
Under 200, you know, so that's just where the valuation comes out for me.
Okay.
But that's the problem with that is that valuation assumes that they don't get back to those returns of old. If they do, yeah, I could pay 200 for it.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're like, well, you get hung up on the acquisition, but it is a great quality business regardless, and just comes down to price. But I could see this one. I could see myself not buying this. If it dropped to 200 and missing it and going, "You idiot."
Yeah, that's, you need a bit of a discipline here, but I think, I'm with you. I think the market's going to balk at this for a little bit at least. Wait till they chew down that debt a little bit. That's going to be freaking out people, thinking, all your net income's going towards paying interest and stuff. Like, that's going to hurt you a little bit. I don't know. I think you got me to look at the acquisition, and I actually liked it. Like, I liked the products that they were buying. It fitted in with their, evergreen type model that'll go out. I can look at 10 years and I'm going, yeah, it's still going to be around, I'm pretty sure. So I'm not so, I'm less worried about the high price. It's just, will they be able to get growth without having to do another acquisition and keep that growth number up high? And then I think they'll be fine. But I think it's pretty good. Just what price? I think I'm a bit lower than you, but I think it will turn around. It's just, I think it's going to take 2 years. That's all.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like you say, there's nothing wrong with the acquisition per se. It's like, it just looks expensive, how much they paid for it. And a lot of people in the market, analysts said the same thing. Like this, like it looks like they paid a lot for it. I think we did the numbers a week or so ago when we were offline, and it looked, what they paid for it would just seemed too high, the EBITDA multiple they paid for it. But again, that the idea is you're not just paying for that, you're paying for what you can get out, what they can get out of it.
Yes, as well.
So yeah.
And Terry Smith makes this mistake all the time. Like, because look how much they paid for it, and I'm not putting up with that, I'm leaving. And then he leaves, and then he's like, fuck, like it just keeps compounding on. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter that you overpay. If you're good management and good products, it'll work out. But yeah.
All right there, folks. There you have it. It's a great quality business, CSL. Probably one of the best in Australia, if not the best. Let us know what you think in the comments. You think it's too expensive at 230, 235? Let us know. And we will see you next time.